how did you become a non-feminist woman?
I think it was basically being a feminist originally. I was very woman power, but then watching as I saw women doing things that if men were to do them, they'd get into an awful lot of trouble. And then I saw women doing these things and just getting they're a woman, the man must have deserved it. And it was like, wait a minute, okay. And then the whole Me Too thing kicked off, and everyone was like, yeah, women for women and things like that, which I encouraged. I did encourage like women being there for other women, but not to the point that they put men down. And that's what it went from. It went from people trying to support other people to, it's not all of them, but a minority of them do put down men because they are men. They don't live up to their expectations, which is ridiculous. And I just kind of thought that they don't act what they say they stand for, they don't actually stand for, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. They say they stand for equality, but really
they actually don't. They stand for to make men feel like this.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's horrible. They claim to stand for making men and women feeling equal and things like that. And I'm in a relationship, have been for 12 years, and I've never been made by my partner to not feel like he's equal. Never. Even though like I'll go to him for decision making and things like that, he'll look at me and go, you don't need to ask my permission to make decisions. And I'm like, I know, but you know, we do it as a team. And then you got the feminists who are like, oh, men are this, men are that, they're controlling, they're this. And I'm like, no.
Right.
Not all men.
Exactly. Like, they've met the wrong men. And then they say that all men are like this. And it's like, I also have the same feeling. I'm in a relationship, I'm looking at my husband. And and also not just being in a relationship, I have family that are male, and this is not the
it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair because they've met the wrong men, and then they say so
but that's the thing, we've all met the wrong people. Like I've met some I met some horrible men, but I've also met some horrible women.
Right.
You can't judge the one by the many. Right. And that's what a lot of feminists seem to do. They're like, well, this man did this to me, so I'm going to paint every man with the same brush.
Right.
And it's like, maybe you just picked the wrong guy.
Right. Maybe he's a horrible person, because sometimes humans are just horrible. And
well, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's just madness.
Do you believe that we live in a patriarchy?
Right. Would you explain patriarchy to me?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, do you believe that society benefits men, that we live in a society that benefits men much more than women, or that is controlled by men? Do you believe that men have more control over society than women?
No way in hell. Like, I could break up with my partner today, go to my council and tell them that I'm in a violent relationship, even though I'm not. Mm-hmm. He will get arrested and I will get housed. He could do the same thing and he will get put on what we call floor space, which is basically a load of people shoved in a room together. They will come knock on my door and I would just have to say nothing happened. He's just being over dramatic, or we had an argument. They'd believe me over him any day. Women have so much more power than men. It's unbelievable. And a lot of women do abuse it as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we don't live in a patriarchy. That's
No.
Okay. What are your thoughts on traditional gender roles?
I'm very, I'm a bit old school. I'm more than happy. My partner's got sciatica, so the old school rules don't really apply to us. Mm-hmm. But I don't see the issue with a man going out, working, and a woman staying home. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. She doesn't have to go out. She doesn't have to go and get a job to provide, because a lot of men want to be the provider. So just let them. Mm-hmm. Let them do what makes them happy, rather than going, oh, you're controlling me, you're stopping me from doing this. No.
Exactly. It's a choice, and it may have downfalls, just as the opposite choice may have problems as well. But we have to be tolerant of each other. I agree. And often, feminists are always wanting to say this and this is the problem, he'll be controlling, and it's it's a choice, and there are problems, but there are problems on the other side as well. So we, nothing is perfect. Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on men's rights activists?
We have feminists. Why can't men have theirs?
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the way I see it. men's rights activists are just people speaking up for men, just like feminists are speaking up for what they believe it should be. Men are speaking up, going, wait a minute, what you've said is causing us hell. Like, it's so hard for men, like, for instance, in mental health capacity, it's a lot easier for a woman to go get help than it is for a man to go get help. Not just that. If a man goes to a doctor, cries to a doctor about having mental health issues, that doctor's going to do one of two things. He's either going to sympathise and feel, or he's going to look and go, you are a fully grown man, why are you crying? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of men are being taught that crying's a weakness when it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's I gotta say it again, it's madness. It's just mad.
What are the issues that you think men face in society today?
I think it's very much like there's parental issues. Obviously, the whole mums tend to, even though it's 50-50 with parents, meant to be 50-50 with parents, even when they split up and things like that, children always go to mum first. Right. Unless there's like the dad can prove mum isn't capable. Like parenting, mums are got so much more control in. I know it's emotion wise, mental health wise, women have got a lot more offered to them than men do.
More support.
Not just that, men are made to feel like. Well, I've noticed men are made to feel like having emotions and feelings are weaknesses. When to me, a real man is able to show his emotions. Like my partner can show emotion, but he doesn't do it in front of other people, but he does it in front of me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that doesn't make him not a man. That makes him more of a man, if that makes sense.
It's important for all humans to be able to show emotions, to connect with each other, and to feel understood and heard, and like what we have going on inside of us. We need to let it out. This is a normal human thing. But
everyone needs to be made to feel like they're needed and they're wanted. And a lot of men these days feel like they're not wanted or needed because women are like, well, we can do this without you. We can do that without you. It's like, okay. Right. What? And a lot of men are like, well, what am I here for? And it's men's suicide rate has gone up dramatically over the last few years, and it's horrible. Like suicide is horrible, obviously,
right?
But it's just shocking that people are just letting it go under the carpet and not saying anything about it.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's just stops you from thinking about anything. Like you think, what's the world coming to if people who are brought up together just turn on each other because one's a girl and one's a boy.
Right. Yeah, because they create this gender wars between each other, saying that men are like this, men are like that, and then men fight back, women are like this, women are like that. And then you have a situation where before you even know anything, the genders dislike each other. Right?
Well, exactly. There's women out there now that class women and men as different species. Not just different genders, different species.
Right.
And I'm like, how do you manage that? That's not. It's just not logical. But you just got some proper, I'd say, hardcore feminists.
Yeah.
Who put that women could control the world and men don't deserve what they've got and stuff like that. They're the horrible ones. They are very, very minor. That is a very minor community. And I've never met anyone like that, but I've heard about people like that. But it's just, even just that someone out there thinks like that, it's just shocking to me.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on intersectionality?
Can you explain?
Okay, intersectionality is like the concept that different groups in society have different privileges and other groups have like disadvantages. So like it could be like race, gender.
I think the world tries to hide that it's there, but it is there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
There is a massive between groups of people, no matter where you're from, what walk of life you're from, there is a massive thing. Like where I am, I'm in what's classed as a poorer area.
Right.
And not far away from me, there's some very, very rich, very nice houses. Those people do not talk to people like me.
Right. So wealth is also one of those groups. So if you're in a wealthy group, you have more privilege. If you're in a poor group, you have less privilege, like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm not originally from the area I'm from. I was adopted, so I was adopted into a more privileged family, and I've been to places now where I used to go as a child or a young teenager when I was welcomed, and now because I'm no longer part of that community, I am no longer welcome.
Right. Okay. So intersectionality exists. The issue I would have with intersectionality is that they say that men are privileged. They are classified as a privileged group in feminist. Exactly. That's the main issue. Yes, of course, different groups have different privilege, but men are not. They have not classified men correctly. They have said women are underprivileged and men are privileged, and it's like, actually, other things make a bigger difference. How much money you have makes a much. It's so, I can say that wealth is a classification, yes, but men and women, no. They have rich women and they have poor men, and you can't tell me that.
Exactly. You know what? I know some men that work so hard, like so hard, and it's never enough. It's never enough, and I'm just like, do you know what? I don't know why you bother. Just don't bother. But they want these men. They just want to. I know some men are just literally just looking for love, and they get turned down left, right, and centre because they're too poor, or they can do this and the woman can't do it and she doesn't like it, or they're a better cook than them, or something petty. And I'm like, do you know what?
Yeah. So that's the next question then is, what do you think about hypergamy? Do you think that women choose men based on wealth and stuff like this? Do you think that's real?
I don't think they mean. Like, I don't think they mean to.
Right.
But I subconsciously, a lot of women are attracted to, like, the saying diamonds are a girl's best friend. No, food is my best friend.
Right, okay.
My partner even though he's got troubles with his back, he's an amazing chef. Why I love him.
Okay.
But the saying is diamonds are a girl's best friend because a lot of women do only care about what they can have. They're very materialistic.
Okay, so it's kind of a thing, kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that gynocentrism is a thing? Is the world focused on women, and is life easier for women? Would you say that? Do you think society is easier on women? Do we show more sympathy to women?
I think it's getting better. I finally started seeing women getting in trouble. Like the school I'm in now, there are single dads,
right,
who've got their kids, the mums doesn't have them, and things like that, and they're amazing dads and they're amazing people.
Right.
But I think the world is starting to open up to the fact that, wait a minute, men can do it too.
Right.
And I know the saying used to be women can, but men can do it too.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So hopefully it'll open up a lot more, and men will be able to get more help than what they're getting at the moment because it's drastically needed. Like I said to you, I'm not very political. I'm more mental health concerned about men because I've seen men in some right states, some terrible states, and I don't want to wake up one day and have to find out that because of the way the world is, like I know obviously people have had to wake up and find out their loved ones have gone and taken their own life, but I don't want to get that phone call that a man in my life, a member of my family, a friend, has taken their own life because of something a woman has done. Because a lot of the time it is the fact that a woman has done something, they kick them out and they've lost their home, they've lost their job, everything, and they're just like, I can't do it anymore, and they just and it's horrible. It is horrible.
Yeah, it is. So if you had to say like something to the world about your views on feminism, how would you sum up your views on feminism?
It's not what everyone thinks. Honest to God. I was drawn in, as a teenager, I was drawn in by the whole women for women, we'll be there for you, we'll help you, you'll have friends. Because I find it quite hard to make friends with women. I prefer men. I get on easier with men. Like my partner, like I said, we've been together for 12 years. And more women are coming in and out of our lives because I can't seem to keep women friends than men have. We've got the same men in our lives we've had like 12 years. And it's not what they say it is. It's not women for women. It's women against men. It's not women for women. And if you are a woman who is against feminism, then it can be very scary. Like, I've actually fallen out with one of my friends recently.
Right.
Because she found out I was against feminism.
Right.
And she was like, well, how can you be against feminism? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, well, how can you be against women for women? And I was like, I'm not against women for women. I'm against women against men.
Right.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
Why women empower each other, but why not empower men at the same time?
Right, I completely agree with you.
Everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I love how you put that, because I mean, we're not against women for women. Of course, women should be for women, men should be for men, everybody should be for everybody. But
exactly.
if you have a movement that is so mean to half of society, that doesn't consider them, every time you enter their groups, it's a bunch of people complaining about things that men did to them, then it's like, is this really, what is this? This is against men.
Exactly. Like, obviously, I sympathise for anybody who has been hurt by a man, but I also sympathise by men who've been hurt by women, because there are men out there.
And also women who've been hurt by women. The thing is that when they gender it so much and make it like out to be that it's only men, then we don't we don't see when women do things. And just because
everyone just assumes it's a man,
right? And just because more men are in jail and stuff like that, they will say, well, we don't see when, because women are not doing things. No, women also do things. It's just
it goes under the radar more.
Yeah,
because they're a woman. It's like, right, we've got to keep this a secret kind of thing because this woman did this thing.
Yeah.
So it's like So I completely agree. Like, at the end of the day, it's very much, I am all for empowerment of people.
Right.
It takes a village.
Right. Yeah.
Like my mum used to say Rome wasn't built in a day, and then my dad used to say, but Rome wasn't built by one person.
Yeah. Right. And exactly. That's the thing with history. I always find that to be funny as well, because like the women are all like, men were bad, and then sometimes men say they built everything, and it's like, no. Everyone was there. Together. Yeah, together. It was done together. Women did their part, men did their part. And it's horrible when we come today and say the men were oppressors or the women didn't do anything. But I know the men's side, to be fair, they're just trying to answer the women, because it's the women who are saying,
a lot of men, the things they're saying are literally just to defend themselves.
Yeah, it's defense. It's self-defense. So I understand that. The men, they are defending themselves. But the fact that women could look at history and want to say that, they were just oppressed the whole time. And no, it wasn't
Cleopatra wasn't oppressed.
No. I mean, even without women being leaders, women had an important, vital role in history. And they were essential. And they did their part. And it wasn't oppression. There's no reason to feel weird about the fact that men were the ones who went out to the battlefield and stuff. It was just, a difference in role, but both did it. Yeah, both did,
It's just, it's like, it does not make sense. It's like, my parents have a saying that my grandparents used to say, behind every great man is a greater woman.
Yeah.
And that's my adopted family. That was the mentality. My dad went out, my dad worked, my mum worked too.
Yeah.
But when it came to the point that somebody was needed at home with me and my sister, it wasn't my dad at work, it was my mum.
Right.
Because that was her job. I'm a mum, I have a partner, but I do school run because I feel like that is my job.
Right.
And I know people are like, but it's not your job to do it, you don't have to. I know I don't have to, but I want to.
Right. Women tend to scale back for kids. And I think historically this was even more important because we were the ones who got pregnant and breastfed and stuff like this. Nowadays, this is not as, but yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay, what do you have any thoughts on male reproductive rights? Do you think men need reproductive rights?
Explain.
Like, okay, so women should, you're pro-choice, right? With abortion?
Yeah.
Right, so women should be able to abort children.
Yeah.
Should a man, for example, if he didn't want to have the child, let's say he was tricked into... Let's say he was tricked... let's say she said she was on birth control and he did. Yeah. Should he have a chance to opt out? Like stuff like that. How should men get any more reproductive rights than they have? Is it possible?
Yes, they should, because I know women who have gone and got abortions when the men have wanted to keep the baby and have even offered to take the baby and look after the baby on their own, but the woman has made the final call. That is not just your child.
Right.
You know what? Pregnancy bugs me. Like, obviously, I've got children. Pregnancy bugs me. It's not just the woman that is pregnant.
Right.
It is the man and the woman. We are pregnant together.
Right. If it's equal. If we want equality, this is what equality is, right? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The man helps you make that baby. The man will help you raise that baby.
Right, so he's attached as well. Right.
Exactly. Whether he's with you or not, in some way, shape or form, even if he does it because he wants to or does it because he's forced to, he will still help.
Right.
They will still give. And women don't do that. Mm-hmm. Women go, right, I want this baby whether you want it or not, or I don't want this baby, even if you want it, I'm getting rid of it.
Right.
Like, I say, your body is your body. I completely understand that. And a lot of women are like, but if I had the baby, this is going to happen to my body. And
right. Okay. This is also, a consideration. It's complex. I just, it's a
but then it's one of those things, if you know that, stay safe.
Right. It's
It's one of those things, there's choices that can be made to stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know anyone in your life who has been affected by feminism? Like, do you have, like, perhaps a story of someone who you think has been affected by our feminist society?
I'm trying to think of one that's, because I've met a lot of men who have, like, right, here we go. It's not a feminism story, but it's just basically shows what women can be like. I have a friend who is a lovely guy. He's 6 foot odd, face like got beard and things like that. And because of that, people don't look at him twice. But his last girlfriend, before they got together, she was very self-conscious about herself, very thingy in herself, didn't come out of her shell or anything. Then they got together. He spoiled her, bought her a whole new wardrobe, paid for her hair to get done, took her out on dates and things like that. And the moment her confidence came, that was it. She was gone. She was gone. Mm-hmm. She used him to build her confidence. And even though that's not feminism, it still shows that a lot of women just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was heartbroken.
Right.
He was absolutely heartbroken. And she was off on a date the next day with somebody else.
Right. And feminism always tries to paint women as the gender who is
as
so
kind.
That take
2, 3.
Right. And who's always hurt and who's always the victim in every relationship and so on.
Do you know what? I know men who have taken years to get over a partner who has left them. And I know women who have taken a day to get over a man who they've left or has left them.
Right.
Women can move on like that. Right. Men, when they fall in love deep and they fall in love hard.
Sometimes, it's all very complicated. And the thing is, we can't gender things. We have to just understand that people are individuals and we don't want to put these boxes,
exactly.
Right. Let's see. Do you have a YouTube channel or anything like this? Are you active? No. Okay. Yeah, it's really
one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah. It is complicated. And we don't need to gender these things, I think if there are issues in society, just deal with the issues. If rape is an issue,
don't say it's a man's problem or it's a woman's problem. A problem's a problem.
A problem's a problem. If sexual assault is an issue, just deal with it. A sexual assault without talking about women or men. Just deal with it under a banner that is equal. Right?
Exactly.
I don't have any problem with people saying that they are egalitarian. Why do you have to bring it to feminism and say that the men were oppressors and things? That's the problem.
Yeah, that there is the problem. You can't have equality if you're blaming one lot of people.
Right.
You cannot do. That's not how equality works. Equality is everybody together being on the same wavelength, meaning the same amount to other people. This world would be so much better if people were just nicer. The world is shit because people are mean.
Exactly. I mean, we can't have equality if people are so bent on blaming one group. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
But half the time their fault it's their fault. They don't want to take responsibility for their actions. So they're like, you know what, I did this, but I'm gonna blame this group because it's easier, or I'm gonna blame that group because it's easier. It's like, no, everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, or
The basis of equality is that, hey, we're all equal. We just can't, we're all here, and today we're all equal, and then you can have equality, and everybody needs to get the same seat at the table. So if men have a problem, they have to have equal seat at the table to talk about it, and women as well. But when feminism says you guys are the oppressors, or we live in a patriarchy that's run by men, y'all are oppressive, we've been oppressed throughout history, then men don't get the same seat at the table. They don't have the same voice, because the point of saying all that is to say you need to make your voice smaller so that I can make my voice larger. And then this is not equality. Okay?
No, exactly.
This is that you have a larger voice and he doesn't. And if you want equality, just call yourself an egalitarian. That's all.
Right.
You know, you can form the same groups, egalitarianism, and you can talk about women's issues, but invite men to talk back and to talk about men's issues.
So many men have got really good inputs on women issues, and it's unbelievable. Women don't take their advice, but they actually know what they're talking about. That's what I mean. Like, I've gone past wanting, I've gone past the thought of equal rights, because I don't think that's ever going to exist. Not in the world we live today.
Right.
I'm at the point now where it's like men need more help. They do.
Yeah.
Like women have had help, a lot of help for a very long fucking time. It's about time we help the men that we've oppressed.
I agree. Yeah.
If they want to talk about oppression, a lot of females have oppressed men.
Right. Yeah. We've gone past that. We've gone past equality. We need to just help men right now. Because if we don't, then they will fail. And if they fail, then society fails. We fail.
If one of us fails, everyone fails.
Exactly. And that's the weird thing that I don't understand, how feminists can't understand that. This is not a men versus women thing. If men fail, women fail. As long as one group fails, we all fail. If women fail, men fail. If men fail, we fail. So there is no, men versus women. It's absolute nonsense. We cannot have a functional society without men being able to do all the things that they do and should do or whatever. So we have to uplift men.
They need to do it as well.
Exactly.
They need to be able, because the amount of times men now double check to see if it's okay. Like, I double check with my partner on things, but I will never expect him to double check with me. And I know that sounds very, like a feminist would call that controlling, but that's not controlling. That's my point.
Right.
I need him to be able to give me advice on if something's a good idea, if something's a good deal, if something like that. So I go to him. He doesn't need me for that. He knows what he's doing.
Right. Different people. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Together.
And they have to understand that there's a lot of diversity. Like, feminists talk a lot about diversity and stuff, right? But there's a lot of diversity under humans, just normal diversity, in that some women are going to want to be submissive. Some women are not. And some men are going to want to be submissive. Some men are not. We have to allow for all of this diversity and not say that when women want to be submissive or want to be a trad wife or whatever, that is a toxic relationship situation, that he is abusive. It's a choice, and that choice will always be made because we have human diversity. This is a part of diversity,
Exactly. The part of being a human is being able to choose.
Right.
And that's the thing. There are men out there who don't want to work, and their wives work instead, and the men stay at home and stay at home dads. I don't think any less of them. Good for them. That's their choice. Exactly.
This will happen. And feminism says, well, yeah, we are for that choice. We are the reason that choice exists. And it's like, no, I don't think that feminists, well, not necessarily the reason, but even though they fought for such a choice, and I'll give them that, that's good. But at the end of the day, now that we have those choices and people are making choices, now they're upset with people who make the older choice.
Exactly. And it's like, they don't want the old school, old traditional ways. They want to wipe out old tradition.
Yeah.
And that's because they don't like it. They don't like the thought.
And it's like, we accused you in the beginning sorry, in the beginning we said you don't like traditional gender roles. We said, I remember as an older feminist, we were arguing with feminists saying, you clearly don't like traditional gender roles. And feminists always said, no, we're just for choice. It's all about choice. And so traditionalists were probably like, okay, if this is about choice, fine, you need choice. But now that everybody has choice, you still don't like traditional gender roles. So what is going on here?
Picking.
Yeah,
that's the thing, we're picking, because the moment everything stops,
right,
and men get the help they need to help, and feminists stop like attacking men and things like that, there'll be no need for these feminist movements.
Exactly, there will be no feminism. It'll just be egalitarianism.
They're just carrying it on, so they got something to do.
Right,
and it's at the cost of other people. Like the aim of it was to make sure that everyone knew that we were all there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, if that happens,
mm-hmm.
there would be no more goal, because the goal would have been reached.
Right, we have reached the goal.
Doing whatever they can to make sure that goal doesn't get reached.
Right.
But in the process, they're hurting a lot of people.
Exactly.
They're hurting more people than they're helping.
Right. We have reached the goal and then beyond. And anything that is done beyond right now is just hurting men and women, because it damages the relationship between men and women, because it makes it seem like if all women hate men if they say they're feminist. And it's like, well, you know, yeah, you can be someone for equality, but you don't dislike men. Because at this point, we have equality. So anything else that you're fighting for, to me, is anti-male. I don't know what else you could want. I don't know what else feminists could possibly want from society. You know?
You can, exactly the same, like, obviously originally they were all, like I said, not very political, but it's, I know roughly, obviously, fighting for the same wage and for higher job positions and things like that. They got all that.
Mm-hmm.
There's women out there that get paid a lot more than men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but there's also women out there making a lot more than men and doing things that men can do, but not.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean, without saying too much.
Yeah.
You got OnlyFans, obviously.
Right,
and from what I'm aware, when it first started, it was mainly women you could subscribe to, or something like that. And that was, they were earning so much money, but apparently men couldn't get on there. So that was an app where women could do what they wanted to do, whether that was whatever they do on there. Because I've never actually been on OnlyFans, I don't plan on going there. But it's one of those things. It's like, apparently men couldn't get on there originally, and it's like, well, that was the source of income that women were getting that men couldn't do. So where's the equality? I know it's a very weird example, but where's the equality there? There are things that women can do that men still can't, and there will always be at least one thing that women can do that men can't biologically, and women hold that over men every single day. Every day. It's a go-to when they want to. It's like, well, do you know what? If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have children because you can't. And it's like, oh, do you know what? You could adopt. Leave him alone.
Right.
Just leave him alone. Because that's one thing that women do throw. Like, that's what I used to throw at my partner when I was, like, back 4 or 5 years ago when my daughter was first born. I used to throw that at my partner when we were arguing.
Yeah. This is going to cut.
And then it was like,
this is going to cut off now because I have the free Zoom, so it's going to cut off.
Okay, no worries.
But thanks a lot for interviewing. I really appreciate you taking the time.